Hi everyone, hi Adil and Yamral. Thank you for joining for our weekly Python Fundamentals Study Jump. Today I have prepared 5 coding problems for you to solve. It's a kind of a recap, summarize what we have already learned so far. It doesn't mean that there are no other topics, it's just a small like a middle step in your journey. I'll share the tasks to you on screen. Can you see it? Okay. And you can start from any problem you want. Would you like to do one by one? Or I give you time for all 5 and then we will check what you have solved and what you didn't solve. Let me explain briefly each task. So on the first, you will be given array, and array we've covered on last session. And we need to return true if 6 appears either on the first item or last element in the array. For example, here 6 in the last item, so it's true. Here it's not in the last or first item, so that's why it's false. The second task is to write the Python program to count the number 4 in a given list. So you need to write a function. So everywhere you need to find a function, and it will take list as an argument. You need to return how many number 4 items in the list. The third program you need to write is you have given a radius and you just need to return the volume of a sphere. And here is the formula if you forgot. The fourth task is to write a string, which is given as one of the arguments. You need to write the string how many times is given by the n. So it's going to be the second argument. So if you have high and 2, you need to write the string 2 times. And the last one, write a Python program to test whether a given number is within 100 of 1000 or 2000. So I will give you a small hint that this number can be less or over 1000 and 2000. So you need to use some trick to check it out. And now it's 10 past 5. So let's, I'll give you about 30 minutes to tackle these problems, and then we will discuss if some problems are already done. And if not, we will discuss what we'll do next, okay? Hey, Abdullah, hi, I just saw you joined.
Hi.
So we are solving these 5 coding problems for 30 minutes first.
Okay.
Okay, so Abdullah have shared his one solution, but I think for first 30 minutes, you can just solve as much problems as you can, and now do not share it with all of us. Okay. May I just ask how are you doing? How is it going? Anybody solved at least one problem? Just to make sure that we use this time effectively. If it's too difficult or you don't understand the question, then I can explain. Okay, this is okay. Oh, you solved number
I
3.
did
Okay.
only 3.
Oh, nice.
Me too. Like only number 3.
Mm-hmm. By the way, do you have any environment that you can check your answer? If you didn't install the Anaconda yet, I recommend you to use Jupyter. Okay, Spider. Okay, Jupyter online version that you can use without installation for now, but I recommend you to install it later. Jupyter Notebook. Too many users. Okay. By the way, do you see problems? I will duplicate it in the chat while I'm here. So notebook. And try this, Jupyter. Or click Jupyter Lab here. Okay, Abdul has solved number 2. Nice. You skip number 3. Okay, it's too easy.
I'm sorry, Aya, can you explain number 4?
Number 4. So the function name should be string times, and it receives 2 arguments, string and integer. And you need to return a string that is replicated number of times given by n number.
Okay.
So for example, if you have hi.
Understood.
So it can be any other string, any other number. A quick check. Anybody solved one more task or problem? If not, I want to go through these tasks and a little bit discuss what you can do, what you should use to solve it. Okay, Abdullah solved number 4, good. Dimarao, Adil, do you want me to just go through and discuss the things that you can use to solve it? For example, we just covered lists, and you might not know or remember some stuff from this topic. Or the whole approach, how to solve some problems.
Yeah, it will be
Okay.
helpful.
Yeah, let's do it. So
I'm
for,
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you explain once more number 5?
okay, so let's go through one by one from first, okay? So the first one, you have a function, you know the name first, last 6, and in the braces we have a list, yeah? So it's argument. Once we get this argument, we then need to check whether a number 6 specifically appears first or last. How can we check it? Every time we need to check something, what we use when we evaluate something, some conditions.
Oops.
Loops, we use to loops, it's like looping, right? It's to check, yeah. Okay, yeah, so we can use loops actually. But I mean, to check to evaluate something, we use conditional statements, right? Like if something is in this place or not. So you definitely need to use here if else statement. Then the next thing is how can we access items in the list? So we can, of course, loop through the list, the whole list, but also we don't need to check whether 6 is present in the middle, right? Or somewhere in between the first and last item. We only need to check if it's first and last. So how can we check if the item is first? By indexing. So we use, I'll write in the chat. So for example, a list, we use square brackets. And if I write 5 inside, then this would be the 5th element, right? And we will start from 0. We say 0, 1, 2, but here is no 5 element, so it will be arrow. So to access the first item, I should write list, and in square brackets, I should write. So the first element, the 1, it will be the second element, right? Because we start from 0, 0, 1, 2. So we start from 0, right? So if I write list index 0, it will be the first item. Then the last item, there is a trick. How can you calculate what's the index of the last item? Or what trick can you use? So if I didn't know about this trick, what do you think?
Length?
Yes. So you can actually measure the list, and then you subtract 1, right? Because, for example, this is the 3 items, so the length will be 3, but the last item will be 2, right? Because we start from 0, 0, 1, 2. So you need to measure the length and subtract 1. So it's one way. And another way is to use list minus 1. So it will be the last item. So I don't think there, for now, there is a preferred way. I think it's good that you yourself came up with the answer by measuring the length. So you can use your option, your solution. Okay, let's go to the next. The second one, I think only Abdullah said that he solved it. So I will briefly explain it. We need to write a program function that counts the number 4 in a given list. So here we have a list, and we need to count how many 4s are there. How can we do this? To go through whole list, what we should do?
Loops.
Yes, here is the loops. So we iterate over each element to check, is this 4? Is this 4? Is this 4? Until the last item, right? And if I say, if this is 4, then I ask question, then we should use conditional statements, right?
Yes.
Now you need to only came up with the right conditional statement. How can we check if the number 4 is the item in the list? Okay, the third was easy for you. It's just math. We translate the language math into the code. The fourth is okay. Let me explain. So we know the name of a function, string names, and we know that there are 2 arguments. The first is string, and the second is integer. And I wrote here it's non-negative integer, so there will not be any like negative number. And then we need to return a different string that is an original string that is repeated n times. So if n is equal to 2, or any other x equal to 2, then we will have high, high. If it was 3, then high, high, high. Just 1, high, right? So how can we produce a bigger string? What operations can we do on strings?
Conditional.
Can you repeat it?
Multiplication.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Multiplication.
Multiplication. Multiplication.
Sorry.
Yes, maybe you can. Yeah. So you can understand what should we do, right? We should somehow
Yes,
repeat
yes.
this sequence several times, right? So if Abdullah solved, I think this is just a hint for other like Dimral or Adil. So you need to use this some operations on the string to repeat it several times. And the last one, the fifth, we have a function that tests whether a given number, so we receive a number in the argument, and it's within 100 of 1,000 or 2,000. So what it means, if we have, for example, 500, then it is not within 100 from 1,000 and 2,000, right? Because the difference between 500 and 1,000 will be 500. So we need to check whether the given number is within the range of 100, less or equal to 100. Do you understand?
Can you give me the input and the output of the
For example, we have
expected?
500. For example, we have 500 as input, and output will be false because it's not within 100 of 1,000 or 2,000. What I mean is the difference between 500 and 1,000 and 2,000 is more than 100. And if I give you a number of, for example, 1,080, then the answer will be true, yeah, because the answer will be still false, because 1,080 is not within 100, so it's more than 100. Let's say the difference between 1,800 is more than 100 from 1,000 and 2,000. Do you understand? So you need to just compare the difference between input and output, yeah, and these two numbers. I'll write in the chat. So if you have this input, then the difference between between 2,000 and 1,080 is 8,800 is 200, and difference between the given number and 1,000 is 800, right? So both these numbers, 200 and 800, are more than 100, then the answer is false. So here it's just conditional statement. That's all you need to use. No loops, nothing, just conditional statement. Is it clear?
Okay, understood.
Mm-hmm.
Why 1,800?
It's just one example of input. It could be 500. It could be 900. So if it was,
Okay.
yeah, so it's just example to explain how this function should work. Abdullah, it's a nice question. So, okay, Adil says true. Okay. I'll give you the chance to think about it, and when we will discuss, we will understand what's the right answer. Because I think it's a thing that you need to understand from conditional statements, multiple conditional statements. And we have 15 minutes left from our discussion. If somebody solved at least one problem after the discussion, it's, I think, great. Dimarao, did you try to solve any like first problem or the second problem, for example?
I'm trying the first one, but it's giving me error. It's not working.
Okay. Okay, at least you're trying. That's the main thing. Let's do this way. So one of you will try to explain the problem that you solved. Okay. And if, for example, you like Dimaral, you didn't, you solved one problem, right? It's third problem. So we have 2 more left. I will explain one, and the other person will explain the last one. So who would like to start? Who wants to explain one problem? Anyone? Just don't be afraid if it's not correct or
I
anything.
will explain number 1, maybe.
Okay, let's go. Would you like to share your
Share.
screen?
Oh no, wait. Share my screen. Okay.
I will stop here and then I will let you share. Okay, now you can share.
Can you see my spider?
Not yet.
Hey, no? Your
It's
screen share
loading.
is pause. Wait a minute.
Yep,
Can you
we see.
see now?
Oh, yes.
Where is my? Yes, this. What was the question? Oh, this is the. Okay. Yeah, the first question. The function, if the function given an array of integers, return if 6 appear as either first or last element. So as Aya had explained, so first I made I defined the array first. This array, an array in Python is with square bracket. Okay, let's find the array. Yeah, and then this is the function. So define blah 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 function x. So the first thing I want to check if the first index in the array is 6. So first index, I'm sorry. Array in Python starts with 0, right? So
Yes.
first one is this. If the first one equals to 6, if yes, then return true. If not, go to next conditional. Is the last number in the array, last number -1 equal to 6, then return true. And if not, then return false. Yeah, so
it works, right?
yes, false. Okay. Wait, it's false.
So the last one, yeah. So it will return you the last one because
True. Sorry, wrong array.
yeah.
Yes.
If you put print and put print inside all these first like on the line 41, 42, 43, if you put print, then it will print all answers. But when you run all of them, it just prints you the last
Oh,
answer.
oh yeah, yeah, true, true. Like this? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
That's great. So, Dimaral, do you have any question about the first problem?
Or are there any alternative method?
Yeah.
Mine looks a bit complicated.
Uh-huh. Well, it's okay.
Like-
Especially in the beginning, it's okay, huh?
Because, for example, Abdullah, you used elif x minus 1, but in that case, I use lens
Mhm.
minus 1.
Mhm.
And I didn't define the arrays like in square brackets. Maybe that's why it was saying like it's not defined.
Yes, yes, yes. So we define the arrays just to check our function, because our function can be correct, but it will give us error because we didn't define something that we give as input, because x is input and we don't have anything, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Then next, maybe who wants to discuss the next problem? Adil, Jamral? Any problem? If you didn't solve, it's also okay. If you solve just one, also good. We will help anyway.
I just kind of tried to solve the number 3, but
Then let's go.
it's not working.
Let's go.
it's
Let's go.
too-
Let's do it together.
Yeah.
See
Share
your
your
code.
screen.
Yes, yes, yes. Otherwise, I'm
Okay,
super
I'll try.
excited.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, it's booting.
we see.
So I tried this way, but I think it's not correct.
So this is the number 2, right? Problem.
Yes, number 2.
So the first thing that I see, could you please read your arrow?
It says invalid syntax.
Then it points you at something, right? There is a arrow. So you forgot
in range.
You forgot something in the end.
Should I include like a force here?
No.
In the range, so
num.
we put so we put some number, or the num is actually list, yes? So you need to put len num to find like the number. But so there are 2 ways. Let me write in the chat. First is you need to use range. So you say, like, for example, for I in range, oh, sorry, there might be some like this, for I in range 5, and it will give us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. But if we want to iterate over list, we can do like for I in range len num, in our case. Don't forget about column after this, okay? Both times. So it means it will measure the length of the list. So in our case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will be same for I in range 5.
What is the purpose of the range?
Range gives you numbers, just range of numbers, like in English, range of numbers. But if we want to, so why we use range? For example, when we want to access these items through indexing, yeah, now we can use I as index, but we also can access items just naming, like for X or for I, doesn't matter, for X in nums. So what it does, it says for item in this list, and X will be actually the item. Do you see the difference? If I say
Okay.
for I in range, I will then do if nums I equals something something. Yeah. If I use if for X in nums, then I say if X equals something. So I actually use the item from the list, or I use index to access the item in the list. Do you see the difference? Dimiral? No?
Not much.
That's okay, that's okay. So let me share the screen.
Yes.
I just want to make sure everybody understands it. So very good. I'll share my screen, this one, and I hope it will open quickly. If not, I saw Dimiral using Kaggle, and it's a really smart idea. Yes, because there are active cells. Okay. Faster, please, faster. Wow, it's so difficult. Runs how to start. Oh, okay. I'll use this. I'll use here. Okay. So we have our nums is some 2, 4, 7, 3, 9, and then we say for I in range 5, for example. Oops, what's going? Okay, for I in range 5, and then let's print I. What's going to be I? Oh, it's just numbers, right? When we use range, we just, like in English, we take the range of some number, and it will start from 0, not including the number itself. Okay, then I have another for loop. For I in range len nums, let's print I. And oops, sorry, it's same. So it's same, it's a good example. We have same because what it does, it first estimates the length of a list, and it's 5, and then this becomes just 5. So it's same, right? If you have any questions at any point, please stop me and ask, okay? Then if I put just nums, it will give me an error because the range only accepts number integer as a argument. Okay, that's why we put len here. Okay, then why we use range? Why we can use range to iterate over these items, over this list? Because I becomes an integer which corresponds to the index of these items. Not this one, yeah, it's same as Dimiral said. So if I put how I index items, I say this list, and I take I from this list, and let's print it. It will be 2, so it just prints us items from the list, right? But Aldova said, why we need range? That's a good question, because we actually can access the items from the list by using for I, for example, in nums. So what it does, it says for, instead of I, it's like for item in my list, nums, it's a list, print item. And same, you see the difference. We can access, here I access the item from my list using index. Yes, this is index. And we use this for like form to access the item from the list. But we also can access the item by item itself. When we say for item in nuts, like for apples in the basket, apple 1, apple 2, apple 3, you know? Do you understand? I don't see you. Timral? Any questions here? I think you just need to understand different ways we can access items using for loop. And you know already that even without a loop, I can access nums like this, yeah? Take the first item, take the last item, oops. Take any item. But when we use for loop, we can use either this way, or we have another way, is just say for item in some list, print me this item. It will take 2, 4, 7, 3, and 9. Okay, let's stop here. There is no question. And Timral, can you share your screen? I know it's already 6, but I want just to, I think you have a right solution. Just some minor mistakes I found already. Could you please share again? So first of all, you can choose either accessing items through indexing, or by the second approach, just like for item in nums, item, if item equal something, and it takes a little bit of time. Okay.
Oh, can you see?
Yep. So, okay, we corrected the second line. Another thing is after you put the colon, it will automatically give you the space from left if you put enter, but because you introduce colon before, yeah, like this, oh, here, okay. And then return the same thing. Return also will, if you put return back and then enter, yep, So if force, and where is force? Okay, if force n, I see. Okay, so when you say if force is the name of a function, right? And the name and the function usually requires the this circular brackets, right? But you put square brackets. I think you just messed up with the right list. So you, instead of force, no, instead of force, you need to write num, right? So num square brackets list, square bracket, n inside, yeah. So it's same approach. I think you have a good approach. So now you say this item indexed n, if it's equal to 4, then return you return now the index itself, right? But the task is to return number of occurrences of 4. So how we do it, we create a variable, and we create the variable before the loop and initialize it as 0. And then every iteration of our loop, we will increase a by 1, yeah? So if not return, you need to first, how to say, you need to modify a. So you put a equal a plus equal 1. before return plus
before return.
put enter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. A plus equal 1. Okay. So every time you encounter 4, you will update A, right? Then when the whole list will stop, then you return A, right? So return should not be inside for loop, because after the first iteration, it will stop everything. It will return A. But you need to return A only when the whole loop stops. So, yep, here. Let's run it and see if there are some errors. I see. So 2, right?
Oh, it's counted.
That's correct.
2. Oh.
You did it. Yay. You did it, yeah?
Thank you. Yes,
yeah, so
thank you.
I think the approach was...
Can you copy your solution in chat? Thank you.
Yeah.
So you had the right approach, some minor mistakes, and now you're ready. So we did it. Yay. Okay, so we have 3 more problems. I think we can continue next session, okay? So next, Adil will be explaining. So he is a little bit cheating. He has more like a week to prepare his answer. Okay, so thank you very much for today. I hope you enjoyed solving problems.
Can I share my solution?
Of course.
Sorry.
Of course. Let's do it.
I have different approach.
Yeah, we welcome different approaches.
So actually, maybe this is more complicated. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So define the name of the variable. Then I put a dummy array, the blank array, and then for every I in the array, it will from the input, if it's equal to 4, I will add this array with 1. So if it's correct, it will give
correct.
1. Then in the final, the function will print the length of the counter array.
Yeah. So, or you could just append the I itself, right? Because it doesn't matter what number it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's correct.
0 is okay. Yeah.
Just different approach, and you use the append function. Maybe we are not that still professional in using methods of arrays, because I think I didn't explain you last session. We stopped. Yeah, I think we stopped at some point, and I didn't finish the explanation. But I want to emphasize here for Dimaral and Adil that in Dimaral's case, she used indexing, right? It's not correct or wrong, just another way. And Abdullah used for I in X, so he just directly accessed the items from the list. Yeah, he didn't need the square brackets and index. So that's the difference. And also he created a basket where he collected the correct number of occurrences and then returned the length of this basket, like the size of this basket. Yeah, that's correct. Really nice. I hope the more we learn, the more diverse solutions we will get from you. Thank you for today's session. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Dimara. Good job.
Thank you.